What is up, my friends? Are you ready? I'm going to go with quick fire ones. Let us rejoice, everybody, because Manchester United remain, see what I've done there, in 12th place in the Premier League, but the Reds have got no money, but will still win the league. Na 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 na. What a day. What a day. What a weekend. Isn't it just great? Isn't it great to be a Liverpool fan at the minute? I'm sure we can't extend that same good feeling to our friends in Manchester who were once again beaten 3-0 at home today. It's unusual for Ten Hag to be beaten so thoroughly, isn't it? Said nobody ever. So look, the smart money is going on the lettuce. That's what I'm saying right now. The smart money is going on the lettuce. And I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but poke a little bit of fun earlier on. I don't usually make little snidey videos for TikTok and stuff, but I was sitting here and I looked across at the table and the lettuce was there and it was winking at me. So go on, Craig. You know you want to, mate. Go on. You know you want it. So the lettuce said it wouldn't respect me if I didn't. So I had to start the banter. Now, if you have any more lettuce puns, please do let us know in the chat, because we're here for lettuce puns. Whether it's romaine, whether it's lettuce itself, whatever you guys want to do, get creative. I'm not here to judge. Right, there is a lot for me to go through tonight, including the list of games Ten Hag has been whooped as United manager. And we ask, when is enough going to be enough for those per United fans? Look, I know we've got a couple in our chat today, and I have to say, well done, lads. You're all taking it in good spirits. But honestly, if you're a United fan looking at this fiasco, you have to say to yourself, come on now. This lad needs to go. He is not going to sort it out. As a Liverpool fan, I hope he stays there a very long time. But most importantly, we want to talk about our weekend, right? Because it wasn't the greatest 90 minutes against Wolves, but we got the job done. Coupled with Newcastle taking points off Manchester City. Aston Villa drawn today with Ipswich as well, which pushes them a little bit away from us. We're starting to build up a little bit of momentum right now. Now, there is a long way to go. Our manager said it, let's not get carried away too much, but it is fun. I'd rather be in this position. I do love that Jamie Carragher, by the way, has already started to wind up Gary Neville and post immediately after United were beaten Gary Neville's prediction for United finishing in the top four with Liverpool outside of it, which is already looking absolutely comical. I don't know how that man's predictions can be taken seriously anymore. Anybody with half a brain cell would have been able to tell him that, one, they weren't going to finish above us this year, and two, the nonsense about their midfield being better than ours is absolutely comical. And that was before I think they even brought in Ugarte, if I'm not mistaken. So the fun just keeps on building as a Liverpool fan right now. And I think that's going to follow up with a victory against Bologna on Wednesday. I've just recorded my preview for that. That's going to be out tomorrow morning. So do keep your eyes out for that one. So yeah, look, I'm here tonight to serve you guys. So whatever it is you want to talk about, lash it into the chat and we'll get to it. Dave said, was watching Adam on FUTV and they're not happy. I don't blame them. I don't blame any United fan right now for feeling a little bit fed up. Sometimes you almost start to feel bad. Like, we all have friends who are United fans, and sometimes I'm like, will I message them? Won't I? Yeah, no, I will. I definitely will. And I was messaging Ben all the way through the game as well, just reminding him that things were falling apart there. But you know what gets me? It's just that there are still some people that believe he'll turn it round. And I just don't know what they're basing that off, because United have been absolutely horrendous under Ten Hag. Yes, they've won 2 trophies, but you can't just ignore everything else. And don't worry, I'm going to make sure they don't forget it. Our friends at AFC Ajax have put up a lovely post reminding us about all the great defeats that Erik Ten Hag has had so far as United manager. So yeah, there you go. Let's just read out what Jamie Redknapp had to say, actually. Speaking after the game, Sky Sports pundit Jamie Redknapp said, it gets to a point where you almost feel sorry for the manager at Manchester United. He looks completely out of his depth. He looks like he's struggling to motivate his team. Man United and Ten Hag are going backwards. You can't complain anymore. He's got the back four in place. He's got all the players at his disposal. There's no excuses. They're rock bottom right now. I don't see where they can go from here. They're as bad as I've ever seen the United side. It's embarrassing. A club of this stature should be producing performances like that. So I don't often agree with Jamie Redknapp, but I'm going to be in Jamie Redknapp's camp on this one and say, absolutely, they have gone backwards. And I've been saying this for 18 months now. I don't get the hype around Ten Hag. I've never gotten it, because he's never justified it to me since he's come to United. What have we got? Mark Fitchin, thank you, mate, for a super chat of the night. Said, Man United match tickets are now half price. This is due to most of the fans leaving at half time. Look, I know we're going to laugh at them and that's our job, but it is almost baffling that it doesn't seem to matter what they do, who they bring in, how much money they spend. I'm starting to wonder, is there a curse on United or something at this point? Because they are a long way away. Shane, who I believe is a Manchester... No, Shane's a Liverpool fan, actually. Sorry, we have a Shane who's a United fan that drops in as well. Thank you, Shane, for your super chat, bro. You didn't put in a comment, but I wanted to bring it up on screen anyway. Stevie boy, how are you, my friend? All the way over in Australia. He said, great morning here. The scum going down 3-0 to Spurs and Liverpool on top. Good weekend. It's a great weekend, mate, isn't it? It really is. You know, we had a lot of stuff go our way this weekend. Arsenal got their 4-2 victory, so fair play to them. Villa dropped points, which helps us, of course, as well. Manchester City drew 1-1 at St James's Park against Newcastle. So Liverpool finished the weekend top of the Premier League with the best defence in the Premier League so far, which isn't getting spoken about, by the way, anywhere near enough. Look, I know Arsenal have a good defence. I'm not going to lie about that. They have a good defence. But our defence needs to start getting a bit of credit here as well. You know, the goal we conceded against Wolves was comical and we could have easily kept that one out. But we've conceded 2 in 6 games in the Premier League. That's a good start for this defence. All sorts of everything said, I work in a Circle K in Dublin. I definitely made sure to bring up the match to any United fan. Couldn't help myself. You're doing the right thing, mate. I have no doubt that your friends and your bosses at Circle K would admire your banter. It's the right thing to do. And if they have any issues with it, send them my way, mate. And I'll defend you to the hilt. I couldn't help it. Look, there's just some days where the inner shithouse in me just takes over. And this was one of them. Today I was on a mission to wind up United fans. But you know what, United fans? I would take it as a mark of respect, because I don't ever wind up Man City fans, because they're all irrelevant. Justin said, Craig, we need to be careful. We have a very hard run of games coming up and we'll be seriously tested. We know where we are after that. I agree, Justin. I mean, it's a very sensible post, mate. And we do. It's going to be a far tougher month for us this month than the last one. And even our manager has been realistic about it and saying that the fixtures have probably been relatively kind to us. But I guess life's about weekend after weekend, Justin, isn't it? And celebrating the little wins that you get. And sitting on top of the Premier League now, when we've not been spoken about being real title contenders by much of the media, it's fun. I don't know if we'll be there come the end of the season, but I tell you what, I'm enjoying it right now, mate. And I'm still flabbergasted reading through some of the comments on lots of different forums, and Liverpool fans still unhappy about things at the minute. Look, games like yesterday, we didn't play well. There's no denying that. We didn't play to our best. But isn't it important that we came out there with the 3 points? So I'll take it. Danny LaRue, thank you, mate, for gifting 5 Anfield Agenda memberships as well, bro. Really appreciate that one. Craig, I heard that United needs a GPS to find the goal. They probably do, but does the GPS work underwater? You know, we've got to be careful about this. United fans were saying let us out at half time. Probably, yep, I like that one, well played. Uncle Craig staying awake at 1 a.m. to watch you absolutely rip United apart. Well, I don't want to let you down, mate. You know, you've stayed up till 1 a.m. I feel it's on me to give you a little rundown. Shall we give you a little history of Eric Ten Hag at Manchester United? There's our Manchester United friend in the chat. Shane, and I will get to your comment in a minute, bro. Let me just go through this one for you. Here's just a few of Eric Ten Hag's results at Manchester United. Manchester United got beaten 7-0 by Liverpool. 3-0 by Liverpool, 6-3 by Manchester City, 3-0 by Manchester City, 3-0 by Spurs, 2-0 by Spurs, 4-0 by Brentford, 3-0 by Sevilla, 3-0 by Bournemouth, 3-0 by Newcastle, and 4-0 by Crystal Palace. How can any United fan have any faith in this clown? Genuinely, I don't understand it. Shane, I promise you I'd get to your comment, mate, and I'm going to bring it up now. I don't want him sacked. Why, you ask? Because we've been through this too many times. Certain players will be on their 4th or 5th manager if he goes. He will get sacked, but I'm sick of sacking managers. I totally understand where you're coming from, Shane. And that's kind of what I was alluding to, mate, earlier on. It feels like there is just something around Manchester United right now that it doesn't seem to matter what pieces they change or move around. Something just doesn't feel right. And, you know, you've brought in the director of football and you've brought in the structure in and around. The manager's been backed in the transfer market. He had most of those players. I think Luke Shaw, if I'm not mistaken, was probably the only realistic first choice one that wasn't there. And again, just ripped apart. You can talk about the red card, and I will. And for what it's worth, I didn't think it was a red card. You know, I'm going to be honest about that. I always try to give United fans my honest view on these situations in their games. And I didn't think that was a red card. You could clearly see that Bruno Fernandes slipped. But what I will say is it was definitely at least a yellow, because he did flick out that foot of his. But it wasn't enough for a red card for me. And that, I think United can find themselves unlucky to be on the end of. At that point, though, let's be honest, Spurs were still very much on top, 1-0 up and looking like by far the better team. But you never know what way the game would have gone. And I think United actually responded okay down to 10 men. They at least had a go in the second half. But 3-0 is still 3-0, Shane, and it's got to hurt you guys. Jeff, how are you, my man? Said, hey Craig, an amazing community. This week has consolidated my thoughts on Liverpool. We may not win the league, or we may, but either way, I love our team. Love you, Craig. Thank you, mate. It's lovely, isn't it, to just see that at least we haven't capitulated. Like, at least there hasn't been a massive drop-off after Jurgen. Because we were all a little bit unsure what to expect, you know. We knew what Arne Slot was supposed to come in and do. We knew that he was very tactically astute. But we didn't know how he was going to manage certain situations. And I've been nothing but impressed so far. He's very measured compared to Jurgen, isn't he? And look, I love Jurgen's emotional side, absolutely. Look, I'm an emotional fella myself. I love Jurgen's emotional side. But I'm really enjoying the attention to detail that you're seeing from Arne Slot so far. Roosba, how are you, my friend? Said, I love Salah, but his decision-making has been poor since the international break, yet he never gets subbed. I want the manager to call him out more. So this was one of the big topics yesterday, mate, in our chat. And I understand it. I do. But I guess all I would say to you is we have to trust the manager. We have to trust him in this one. You know, he'll make the decisions around Mo. And so far, with, I would say, most players, he has shown that if you're not performing, he's going to pull you off and take you off the pitch, or he's going to leave you out. With Mo, he scored his goal yesterday from the penalty spot. And I don't think he was as bad as some people are making out. There was some poor decision making, alright, but I thought he had a decent game, if I'm being really honest. Do you know what, though? The Daily Star, and thank you, Danny, from our Discord group for alerting us to this one. Whoever does the player ratings in the Daily Star should be fired. And let me tell you why. The Daily Star gave Ryan Gravenberch a 5 out of 10 for that performance against Wolves. 5. A man who won every duel. A man who had a 92 or 93% passing success rate. A man who did nothing wrong and was by far and away the best player in the midfield. And they gave him a 5 out of 10. Are these clowns even watching the game? I couldn't believe it. Danny couldn't believe what he was reading either. 5 out of 10, like. I know I'm a Liverpool fan and I'll go over the top. You know, I gave him a 10 because I think he's brilliant. But, I mean, the realistic score there was probably somewhere between an 8 and a 9. To give him a 5 is just absolutely pathetic. But, there again, some of these player ratings I've seen on some of these newspapers are very questionable, to say the least. Michael Manning said, as bad as we played, we still won. And doesn't that feel good? Do you know what, mate? I will take not playing great and winning over feeling like we did well, but a goalkeeper had a worldie, or we just couldn't break a team down. I'll take it. And you know what? I think Wolves have been really unlucky as well in general. I don't think that they're going to be there at the bottom of the league come the end of the season. And it's good to see that the fans are still behind Gary O'Neill there as well, because they've had a really tough run of fixtures. And they made it difficult for us, particularly in that first half an hour yesterday. Gravenberch is going to be like Fabinho, only we know the 10 out of 10 rating, said Sammy. Yeah, do you know what, mate? Another player like that was Bobby Firmino. I remember defending Bobby Firmino to opposition fans who maybe just looked at his numbers and didn't realise what Bobby brought to the Liverpool team. And then only when they started watching him more and more could they see what we see, that he contributed to allow Salah and Manning and everybody else to do what they did. Boody the Bear, how are we, mate? Said, hi Craig, been watching you since the Barcelona game. Well, thank you for that, my friend. I think Salah is very pivotal in our team, and we know when he's put in front of the big lights, he never hides. Sometimes we also have to win ugly. He'll never hide. Do you know what? I would say that, mate, about most of this Liverpool team. I don't think there is many quitters and hiders in there. And I can't win with Salah, to be honest with you. Look at social media comments whenever I talk about Mohamed Salah. If I in any way criticise him, I'm a hater. And if I in any way give him plaudits, I'm hyping him up. It's weird. And a lot of this is by our own fans, by the way. Liverpool fans. I don't understand it. I just try to call things as I see them. I'm not afraid to call a player out if I think they're doing crap. But I'm also not afraid to credit a player if they're doing well. And with Salah, I just can't seem to win. Johnny said, I agree with Sam Lynch. Gakpo has to start against Bologna. So, I didn't put him in my starting 11, to be honest with you, mate, when I was doing my preview out. Because I think Diaz deserves to start. But I also will have no objection whatsoever if we do see Cody Gakpo's name on the team sheet. Because Cody Gakpo has been very good whenever he's been called upon. And isn't it a good headache for the manager to have? We can all feel pretty much at ease with whatever left-sided player that Arne Slot is going to go with against Bologna. And maybe he looks at somebody else through the centre as an example, and maybe that's Gakpo. Heard this rumour about Becker to Munich. I don't think Bayern Munich would pay what it would take for Liverpool to sell Alisson Becker. But look, I'd be a liar if I said to you, who was it that said this? IDK Flamingo. I'd be a liar, mate, if I said to you that I wasn't concerned about his future after we signed Mamardashvili. Like, it certainly feels like an indication that we're looking to the next goalkeeper at some point in the future, and I don't know when that point will be. Jean-Michel Abu Jakude, said, do you think we still need to buy a defensive midfielder next window? Yes, I really do. And not because I don't think Gravenberch is good enough. I just know Gravenberch can't play 70 games. You know, none of these guys should be asked to play that many games. So I think we do need to bring in that other midfielder. Just imagine the abundance of riches for Arne Slot if he had somebody like a Zubimendi or an Ederson on top of the ability to play Gravenberch or to rotate him and rest them and make sure that we can keep Ryan Gravenberch at his peak, at his prime. And that's the reason why, mate. It's not because I don't think he's good enough. I just know that we are probably an injury away from having some square pegs and round hole situations in that midfield. Nunes or Jota to start against Bologna? For me, neither. I'll give you guys a little preview of my team real quick. Don't tell Connor though. If you're watching Connor, you didn't hear anything. So here's my 11, and I'm going to really quickly explain it to you. But I still want you to watch the preview tomorrow, because I'm not going to tell you my score prediction. I went Alisson, Trent, Kwanzaa and Van Dijk just because I want to rest up Canade. I don't want Canade starting to pick up injuries and stuff. So I'd bring in Kwanzaa for this game alongside Van Dijk. Robbo at left back. In midfield, I went for McAllister, Gravenberch, and are you ready? Curtis Jones. Again, not because I don't think Szoboszlai deserves a start, but because we're going to have to start managing some minutes. And I think against Bologna at home, who haven't had a great start to the campaign, I would go with Curtis Jones just to give Szoboszlai a rest ahead of Saturday. Up top then, I've gone for Salah on the right, Diaz on the left, and Chiesa through the centre. That was my attempt at a predicted 11. Now, I know a couple of people are going to say, hang on a minute, Craig, blah, 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 blah. But remember, we need to start managing minutes, rotating, and making sure that we're not overplaying these guys. Did you see the boxing last night? I didn't, Alex. No, I didn't see it, mate. Bill said, great call on resting Ibu. I think we have to. Because one thing we know about Ibrahim Konate is he can pick up muscle strains and knocks. And we're going to have to make sure that we manage him through the season because he's been brilliant so far. Really, really brilliant. I'm sure you guys have probably seen his little interview after the game with Ryan Gravenberch as well, where he didn't want to give Ryan Gravenberch the Man of the Match trophy and he kept asking who picks this. Is it Gary Neville? Ibu felt like he should have been in with a shout for it. And I loved seeing that sense of humour and that fun side to the players there as well. Booty the Bear said, Craig, what's your honest opinion? How do you think we will do against teams like Arsenal and City this season compared to last year? So I'm going to be really honest with you and say, much like last season, my biggest concern when we play Man City and Arsenal is the referees. And that's not to try and undermine Arsenal or City because they don't make the decisions. It's down to the officials. But look back at the 3 big games last year. Spurs away at a time where Spurs were top of the league and doing really well. We were shafted there by the referees. Now, you can talk about it being a human error or not. We were still shafted. Then we play Arsenal at Anfield and Odegaard went full LeBron James and didn't get pulled up for a penalty. Then we had the Doku kick in the chest to McAllister against Man City and nothing. So I want refereeing decisions to actually be reasonable. If the referees don't have an impact in the game, I can see us beating them both at home and maybe losing to one of them away and picking up a draw against the other one. But we are going to have to go for wins in these games because personally, points are great, but look at it this way. If you play City at home and away, win one, lose one's better than drawing 2 of them. You can talk about, yes, City dropping points as well, but if you're talking about a title race with Arsenal there, I would say go for the wins. You know, don't settle for a draw, go for the wins. Charlie, your super chat's not coming through, Charlie. I didn't see a super chat from you, mate. I'm going back through them all here. Shane, nope, there's none there, mate. No super chat came through. At least I can't see it anyway on my system. City don't need Rodri, they have all the refs. Look, it's definitely getting a bit tetchy at Manchester City. Guardiola certainly looks like a bit of the pressure was on him. And he wasn't happy when he was asked about the Rodri situation as well. Andrew's putting 1,000 on the lettuce. I think that's where the smart money's going right now, mate, on the lettuce. Because, you know, the lettuce is looking good. I had a look at it today. It's doing well, still alive. Ten Hag, on the other hand, and his future at Manchester United, well, you know, that remains to be seen. Rachel, thank you, Rachel, for gifting a membership. Very kind of you. Craig, when do you think Chiesa will be able to start more consistently? It's a good question. Probably after the next international break. You know, I think we'll finally get him to build up towards getting those 90 minutes there. I'm so excited though, just because I love the attitude he's brought to Liverpool and how happy he looks to be there. Dominic King yesterday, we mentioned this during the watch along. Dominic King was saying that the celebrations on the sideline when Konate scored were being led by Chiesa, which I think is brilliant. Also, thank you to everybody who contributed to our player ratings yesterday. We really do appreciate it, and keep an eye out for it against Bologna and of course at the weekend as well. On our match reactions, we're going to give you the chance to continue to upload your player ratings. So there'll be a form pinned to the top of the chat in our match reactions, and you can click on that and give us your player ratings. Connor then averages them out, and we compare and contrast them with mine. And the fun part is, when I'm doing the video recording the player ratings, I haven't seen yours yet. So I'm only discovering them in real time. Now, obviously, I've given Connor my scores, but I haven't seen your scores yet. So I like to compare between the two, and I think it makes for a fun video. Alex said, see Gary Neville writing us off for the title. Genuine question. Again, I have respect for Gary Neville. Let me say that before I say what I'm about to say. Can anybody take any prediction Neville gives between Liverpool or United seriously? Because I don't think he's able to take off his Manchester United tinted glasses. To predict that they would finish above us in the league is shambolic. You know, with all due respect to Gary, it's absolutely shambolic. To come out with the pony about them having a better midfield than us is absolutely shambolic. And if he doesn't think we're going to be in a title race, that's okay. We know he seems to have a bit of a hard-on for Arsenal at the minute. He's almost in love with Arsenal for some reason. Let everybody keep doubting us. You know, all we can do is look after our own business. And I do agree with everyone. Look, we've had a relatively decent start to the season. Difficult games to come. Far harder tests than we've had so far. And that will be the making of us. But right now, I'm pretty happy as a Liverpool fan. And I would say that Gary Neville right now isn't probably feeling too confident about his prediction for United finishing top 4. So I know which one of us is happier right now in that regard. I have a good feeling about Chiesa, said Andrew James. I think that once he's up to speed, he'll be lethal. I love his attitude, his passion and his pace, but I know there's more he's going to show us. I agree with everything you've said there, my friend. How did VAR think Bruno's red card was fair? So all I can imagine, Nessie, and again, I'm not trying to defend VAR, and I agree with most people that it probably was not a red card. But once the referee gives the red card, I think they can only downgrade it if it's a clear and obvious error. Now, you could argue that maybe they said to the referee, did you see the slip? Because if the ref sees the slip, then I guess he's already taken that into account. But look, if it was us, Nessie, and we got that red card, I'd be fuming about it. I would, I can't lie, I'd be fuming about it. Because it looked bad in real time. But when you see the replay of it, and you see that Bruno Fernandes does slip, now he still flicks out his leg in my opinion, but I would say yellow would have been sufficient for that. Would you consider an FA Cup and top 4 a good season for Slot? So for me, and I can only talk about me, for me I want him to beat the points tally for last season, and that's what he said himself, to be fair. He wants to improve on, was it 81 or 82 points last year? I can never remember. He wants to improve on that, and if he does that, I'll be happy enough with his first season. David Massett, thank you bro, said another side to the team yesterday, winning ugly. Yes, and even when we conceded the equaliser, it couldn't have been more than 3 or 4 minutes before we were up the other end and getting the penalty and scoring. So I was really happy with, once again, the team not panicking. And we didn't panic when we went 1-0 down against Milan. And remember, that was off the back of us losing to Forest. So it would have been very easy away at the San Siro for the lads to let their heads drop. But they didn't. 82 points, grand. So for me, if he beats 82 points this season, I think that's a very good first season for Arne Slot. Did you see Ten Ballbag's interview after the game? I didn't, mate, no. For me, once he said, midweek I think it was, that patience is required, I just thought, dude, you're there 3 years. You spent 600 million quid. I think the time for patience is going. And even if you look at the win percentage as United managers who've been sacked, he's hovering right around that percentage now. I think he's either 54 or 56% win percentage as United manager. Mourinho got the boot at 58. He is in danger territory right now. And the bad news for United fans is, you know, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see Southgate eventually making his way to Old Trafford. I mean, I hope it happens. I really do. If Ten Hag was given the proper players he wanted, then we wouldn't be where we are. Are you honestly, is that a serious comment? Because I'm taking it at face value, mate. I'm taking it that you're not winding me up. But he was given the players he wanted. He has pissed 600 million quid up against the wall. He had his full selection of players out there today. everyone that he brought in, everyone that he wanted, out there today playing. And they were terrible. Again. But look, I'm more than happy for you to continue to back Ten Hag, mate, because as an opposition fan watching on, I hope it continues forever, because he's never gonna get you where you want to be. He's just not that good of a manager. He just isn't. I don't care what he did at Ajax. What he's doing at United, it's very clear. He's nowhere near the level required to take United on to the next level. Daryl said never a red, though. I agree. Like I just said a moment ago, mate. I feel if that was Liverpool, I'd be fuming over that card. But let's not pretend that United weren't getting pulled apart at that point already. And they were already 1-0 down. Gary Neville said that first half was one of the worst first halves of football he's ever seen. It was terrible. So, again, like the red card I agree with you on, but the performance up to that point was still absolutely a shambles. Finley Ears Guitar, how are you, mate? So my granddad's been taken to the hospital this evening. His knee caved in and he fell. Not too serious, but still worried. Hopefully this will help take my mind off. Well, I wish your granddad a speedy recovery, mate, and please do let us know how he gets on. Glad it's nothing too serious, as you've said, but still, you know, don't like hearing of the man being unwell. And thank you for being here with us as always, Finley. Ten Hag wanted to sign these players. Exactly. He wanted Delay, got him. Ironically, the best player he could have brought in from Ajax, we ended up with in Gravenberch after he went to Bayern. Just look at the players he's brought in and tell me any of them. Maybe Lisandro Martinez. That's probably the only one I would think maybe improved United a little bit. But even at that, like, his nickname's The Butcher, and he's going around acting more like a petulant little bitch these days. And I think he's been lucky not to get even more red cards. I'm not winding you up, right? If you remember from Ollie and Jose, they wanted world-class players, but our recruitment at the time wouldn't allow it. So, really, I know... Oh, God, I find this difficult, Laser Snipes, because the one thing I don't think United fans have any right to complain about is a lack of transfer funds. Because I tell you what, as a Liverpool fan, mate, I would love my manager to have had 600 million quid over the last 3 seasons to spend. We made a profit in this summer's transfer window. Let that sit, mate. We made a profit in a window where we were looking to bring in a centre-back and a midfielder and got neither. Your manager was back to the hilt. Back to the hilt with expensive players. So, I mean, I think you're just grasping at straws there, to be honest, mate. He's been well and truly backed. And I don't think, for all the crap the Glazers have brought to United, and it is a lot of crap, I don't think anybody can say that the managers haven't been backed with transfer funds. They've just pissed it up against the wall. What would be your most realistic signing for Liverpool this summer? It's really difficult to know without... Like, for instance, I can't give you a centre-back because I don't know if we're looking for a replacement for Virgil van Dijk, or we're looking for another player to blood in over a season or two to become a centre-back partner for Kwanzaa or Kanade moving forward. So I really don't know what to say to you, because I don't know what the priorities are. If you're looking at midfield, Ederson from Atalanta is still the one that I think I'd like to see us get. Of course, I wouldn't say no if Zubamendi changes his mind and decided he wants to come to Liverpool, but at this moment in time, I truly just don't know, mate, because this is where I come back to our owners and I say they're cheap, and they are cheap. So I just don't have faith in the owners, mate, to back the managers, which is really frustrating, which is why I keep saying, like, I wish my manager had 600 million to spend in 3 years. United losing 3-0 sounds familiar, said Ashley. It does a little bit, bro, doesn't it? Just a little bit. I ran through some of the results that Ten Hag has had, and honestly, like, just picking out a handful of these, he's lost 7-0 to us and 3-0 to us. He's lost 6-3 and 3-0 to City. He's lost 4-0 to Palace, 3-0 to Sevilla, 3-0 to Bournemouth, 3-0 to Newcastle. It's 3-0 to Spurs. And, like, some of them were at Old Trafford. Like, you've been beaten by us and Spurs this season 3-0 at your gaff. That's shocking. But I do understand Shane's point as well. At United, it feels like, right, you could bring in another manager, but will it really change it at the minute? I don't know is the honest answer. I don't know enough about United's structure. I'd seen some clamouring on, I think it was Al Foran said on social media that Solskjaer was really harshly treated. And I think United fans are, and look, I've nothing but respect for Al. He's a lovely fella. But I think United fans are glamorising what was still a shit time. Like, Solskjaer wasn't great at United either. Any United fans in the chat, or maybe Liverpool fans could answer this as well. If you were a United fan right now, and you had Sir Jim Ratcliffe's ear, and you were going to sack the manager, realistically, who are you going after if you're in that United boardroom? I don't know how to pronounce your name, mate. Digihiro1 said Slot is right though, especially after seeing United get thumped. We haven't played anyone yet. Hopefully show for the big games, big tests to come. Yeah, I think that's more than fair, mate. And I think the manager's spot on as well. Doesn't mean we can't enjoy what we're seeing so far though, right? But you are spot on. We've got Chelsea coming up after the international break. That's going to be a proper test. We'll have harder nights in the Champions League coming up as well against Real Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen. But so far, so good. You know, imagine if we hadn't had the blip against Forest. We could have been perfect right now. And that's impressive. You know, new managers come in and do what he's done. I think it's impressive. But I also understand and respect your word of warning. There's tougher challenges to come, definitely. So, Benjamin, how are you, my friend? Always lovely to see you in as well from New Zealand. Ten Hag must have some explicit pictures at Ineos. Look at Sancho, 3 assists for Chelsea. It's absolutely the manager. I hope he stays. Did you see that Chelsea were even shithousing and posted up the picture of Sancho celebrating? It's mad. Right, so some of the answers. Klopp. There's more chance of me managing United than Jurgen Klopp, mate. That's not going to happen. Amorim or Tuchel. I think they're two decent shouts, Ellis. Yeah, I think they're two decent shouts, with all due respect. Particularly Tuchel. I think Tuchel could come in and really command more respect in that dressing room than the likes of a Ten Hag. I wouldn't say he's going to be the guy to really push United on to get back to maybe challenging for a Champions League or anything, but I think he'll certainly stabilise them and stop the rot that they've seen. McKenna. It's another big gamble that though, Ethan, isn't it? You know, Kieran McKenna's doing a great job at Ipswich. Obviously has a history with United as well. It would be a big risk though. You know, and if you're Kieran McKenna, it's a big risk to take with that job, because if it doesn't work out when you make that leap from Ipswich to United, your own stock is then falling down. So it's a difficult one. Southgate for United, Everton 2. That would be interesting. Jordan, let me get your comment up on screen, my friend. So, imagine if Erik Ten Hag had FSG as an owner. They'd be like 14th. Well, they're 12th now, mate. That's what I'm a little bit confused about. They're 12th now, which is absolutely comical. Like, we're already 8 points ahead of United, and we've only played 6 games. Stephen Dowdle, United's team, best comedy act on TV. Love the show, Craig. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you being with us. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Honestly, thank you. Ten Hag, I think he's doing a great job, said Maddie Dals, and thank you for your super chat, Maddie. I'm with you, mate. I think Ten Hag's doing a great job. Give him another contract extension. Even that contract extension that they gave him wasn't a real contract extension. What was it, 1 year extra? That was no sign of faith in the manager. Lord Shan, how are you? Said, Craig, do you think Salah will extend? I'm going to give you my honest, heartfelt opinion on it. I think Mo would happily extend. For me, the concern is about Michael Edwards, and whether Michael Edwards feels like it's worth reinvesting that amount of money into Salah for, let's say, 3 more seasons. Because after this season, if you extend them for 3 more, that's 3 more after this season. So my concern is more about Edwards than it is about Salah. I think Salah wants to stay. And I think what Gabriel Bonlahor has said about Salah and Saudi Arabia, he's just gaslighting as far as I'm concerned. Because if somebody's going to have actual bona fide information that Salah's going to Saudi, I'm not going to listen to it from him. I'm going to, want an Ornstein, a Romano, somebody of a bit more credibility than like Bonlahor. So I don't know what happens, but my concern isn't really around Mo. I think he'd like to stay. I think he'd like to cement his legacy and continue to break those scoring records. Lord Shan, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Looking forward to another break this weekend after the Crystal Palace game. Myself and Sabrina are off over to Turkey for business, mainly, to be honest with you, but still fun to get out of Ireland and into some warmer climate. Klopp will go for the German job. It certainly feels like that's inevitable at some point, doesn't it? But so far as well, Nagelsmann's doing a decent job with Germany. Escapado said, give Salah a rolling 1-year contract. He won't agree to that. What you have to remember with Mo is, to him, it's more about respect and acknowledgement. And of course he'll want a fitting wage, but a 1-year rolling contract doesn't give anybody any clarity. It doesn't give the manager any clarity to build a squad. It doesn't give the player any clarity about his future. I just don't think that's a very good idea. I think you have to go minimum 2 years. I'm comfortable with 2 years and an option of a third, but I just don't see a rolling 1-year contract as something that's going to be really feasible. Personally, just my opinion. Toe said Mane or Barnes. It's difficult to compare because when I was younger, I looked at Barnes as a superhero, and looking back, nostalgia is always strong, isn't it? So Barnes is probably my answer, but I don't know if that's my answer out of sheer love and admiration for a man I idolised growing up, or if it's the factually correct answer. But it's still probably my answer. And I loved Mane as well. Craig, lettuce, proof of life, please. It's in the kitchen. Yeah, it's in the kitchen. I don't have it here with me. I did put up a video earlier on, though, so there is proof of life of the lettuce. Let us all romaine calm here, everybody. Lettuce geeks out there will know that romaine is a type of lettuce, by the way. Give him a 3-year contract to show him we still have faith. So that's 3 years, Cameron, and this year. So that's 4 years, basically, we're talking about there. Which would be a big commitment from the club. Do you know what? I'm going to put it to a poll. I'm going to ask what you guys think for Salah's extension. So, let me just get a poll option up. So, I'm going to ask what you would do. One second. Okay. Right, so let's give some options. Just writing in the answers now, folks. 1 second. Right, so I'm going to give you 4 options. Question is, what length of deal would you give Salah? And the options that you have are 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or no deal. Maybe you don't want to give him a new deal. So I'll leave that up and we'll see what you guys think. Love the top. Thank you. Appreciate that, mate. I've got a good few of them now. I've got 4 of these tops and 2 hoodies. And I have another one that needs to go to the printers to get done as well. I'd love to sell them, but they'd be way too expensive. What's your honest opinion on where Liverpool will finish this season? Third? Yeah, I still standing over my prediction at the start of the season. I do think, if I'm being really honest with myself, in my heart of hearts, we probably are. Third sounds about right. We could pinch up into second, depending on how City season goes, but I'm trying to be fair. I don't want to say win the league, because that just makes me sound deluded. And as everybody has said, we haven't had the toughest of starts so far. So I think third place, last 16 quarter-final Champions League minimum, and see how we do in the domestic cups. We know we've got Brighton away in the last 16 of the League Cup, but we're capable of higher. I would say that. What if City get a point deduction? It won't apply for this season, mate. It would have to be for the future seasons. So with the City situation, you're probably going to get the outcome somewhere between January, February, but I would expect an appeal most likely there. So this is probably going to kick on towards the next summer anyway. David, thank you, mate, for your super chat. David Massett said 2 years for Mo for David. So I'd probably be in the 2-year camp as well, mate. I think 2 years with maybe the club to have an option on a third year would be in and around where I'd be at with Mo. Samuel said, if we remain healthy, we could win it. Gunners and City have already had some critical injuries. Exactly. And that's, I think, what our season will be defined by this year, mate. Like you've said there, whether we can curtail those injuries or not. Our starting 11 is as good as anyone's. But if Gravenberch picked up a knock right now, let's be honest, we'd be struggling a little bit. And we wouldn't have the same cohesiveness in midfield. If Salah picked up a knock, we may struggle a bit. If Virgil picked up a knock, we may struggle a bit. So, yeah, if we can keep those guys fit and healthy, who knows? We're definitely in with a show. And also, I can't say this strongly enough. The whole hoopla around Manchester City, it's going to have an impact. All of that noise around their club, it can't go unnoticed by the players, and it will seep in. I'm sure Guardiola's going to try and build up a siege mentality there, a la Mourinho, but it's got to impact those players. They've got to be reading the papers. They've got to hear all the chatter. They're going to know everybody wants them punished. Justin said, Craig, Liverpool are more controlled and defensively more solid. Not as exciting, but more measured. So somebody, I think it was Jack Gill actually on the podcast, and I hope you've all had a chance to listen to it. Jack said something along those lines, Justin. He said he finds inside the stadium fans are kind of unsure how to react at times because of that more measured, controlled approach and build-up play. Arne Slot was saying about our first goal yesterday, he was really happy how patient we were in the build-up and how we waited for the right moment before Diogo Jota got that cross in on his left foot to Canade. So yeah, there's definitely more of a balance in that regard without just going fully gung-ho and heavy metal. Stephen Rogers said, hi Craig, I almost never miss any of your videos. Great content creator, greetings from California. Thank you so much, Stephen. Much love to you, mate. I would bet, mate, it's probably a lot nicer weather-wise where you are right now. The winter is really arriving here in Ireland now. It's dark, it's windy, it's cold and it's miserable. But I always appreciate hearing lovely comments like that, mate. Thank you so much. Will City's charges stop players coming in January? You know what? I discussed this during the summer and, I don't see, again, excuse me for not really knowing how to pronounce your name, DIGIHIOR01. I can't understand how any agent in good conscience could recommend their player to go to City with all this stuff hanging over them. I don't get it. Surely it's got to have an impact on your thought process if City are sniffing around as a potential destination for you. Match suspended in Spain. What happened? What happened at the Madrid derby? Mark Bell said, a few of my mates are Borough fans and they're buzzing over Doak. I'm so happy that he's getting some game time, getting some minutes, and got his first goal as well. And look, I think he's working with a good coach in Michael Carrick, a good, proper footballing guy with a great pedigree. I think he'll be a good manager. I do. Always, even when he was at United, as a player and Spurs before that, you could see that Carrick had that, football knowledge upstairs. I think he'll be a good coach, and I think Doak will do well for him. Fans throwing trash at Real players. Jesus. Are you watching, Trent? Are you watching? You don't get this stuff, mate, over in the UK. So, if you're watching Trent, you don't want to be going over there having rubbish thrown at you, mate. Do you know what I mean? Stay at Anfield. It's a lot better. A lot higher quality of fan. Did you see Hayden Hackney's goal? What a strike, what a player. I didn't, but you know what? The Echo have been very strong. Well, I don't want to say very strongly linking us. The Echo have been writing a lot of pieces about that youngster at Sunderland. Now, I don't watch the Championship, so I've got no idea about this guy, but some young attacker at Sunderland who's doing really well, and the Echo have done, I think, 3 or 4 pieces now to kind of say Liverpool are keeping tabs on this guy, and I was just wondering if any of you guys really watch them or know who it is, because I haven't paid any attention to him. I can't even remember his name off the top of my head. I want to see more of Morton. I think he looks solid, said Cameron. Chris Rigg, that's the guy, Ellis. That's the guy. Chris Rigg, that's him. Yeah, so the Echo have done a few bits saying that Liverpool are keeping tabs on Chris Rigg. And apparently he looks like the real deal, who is destined for the top. Now, I haven't got a clue. I haven't seen any of them. Chris said, I'm in Sunderland and it is Rigg. He's going to be special. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you. I'll try to keep an eye on him, but I'm more trying to find out, and I must put it in my notes to ask David Lynch about tomorrow. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to write it now before I forget. I'm recording with David Lynch at 4 o'clock tomorrow, so that video will be out tomorrow evening. I'm just going to put it in my notes. So, 1 second. There you go. Cool. Yeah, thank you for that, mate. I will ask David about it tomorrow to see what Liverpool's interest in Chris Rigg is. Adam, let me just get your super chat up on screen, mate. Adam Brown said, United get battered everywhere they go. They were at home, though, this time, mate. So that's 3-0 by Spurs and 3-0 by us in the space of, what, a month or so? Liverpool's the biggest club in the world. I want to win trophies. I support this club all my heart. Madrid not getting me. Look, I hope they don't get him. I hope that we get this contract sorted out ASAP, because poor old David Lynch is going to get a pain in his arse with me asking him over and over again, is there any news on the contract extensions? By the way, can I ask you guys a question? Are you enjoying the stuff with David Lynch? Because I tell you, I really am enjoying making the videos with him. I love chatting with him. He's a very, very easy guy to get along with and chat with. And it's going to be something we're going to be doing right throughout the season and into the summer as well. And we hope you're enjoying it, because I'm definitely enjoying making the content with him. So you're going to see us at the weekend. If we play, we'll be on a Monday, and then on midweek games the day after. So one coming up tomorrow. Love it, said Turf. Or Turpy, yes, said Gamer King. A lot of information we get from him, said Hassan. Thank you, mate. And look, if you guys ever do have any questions or anything like that you'd like to put to him, we're going to try and do a bit in the future where you guys can submit some questions and I can put them on to David and ask him about them. We're just working on what the best way to get that system in place is at the minute. Really love the videos with Lynch, easy to understand. And do you know what? And I'm being sincere here. Nothing's off limits. David has never said to me, I don't want to talk about the owners, or I don't want to talk about this, or I don't want to talk about that. Honestly, every week, David shows up. I give him a quick rundown of what we're going to chat about, and we get into it and we have a bit of fun. So easy to work with, so knowledgeable on the football club. And more than that, a damn nice fella as well. So if you want to show David a little bit of support, he has a Substack. Now, maybe you're a boomer like me and you don't know what Substack is. It's basically a way for him to have his own little mini website where he can publish his articles on a platform where you have to pay for a subscription. But if you want to support him over there, I subscribe to his Substack. I think it's about £6 a month. And it keeps journalists like David, you know, how do I say this? In business, but also with the freedom to really do the things that they're excited about, the things that they think that they can add most to the fans with. And I've always liked his work. So if you want to show him some support, just check him out on Substack. And of course, his YouTube channel as well. Benjamin said, I like David. He seems very humble and doesn't mince his words. How close is he to the club? He used to work for the club. Yeah, he used to work in the club's media team, mate. Does stuff on LFC TV every week pretty much as well. Yes, he has very good contacts at the club. And I've always been, and always will be, respectful of his position in that regard. I'm never going to put him in any hot water or ask him some iffy stuff about the owners or anything. Because I have my own opinion on the owners. He has his opinion. And I'm sure that we'll get to it in the summer when we're talking about transfers. But yeah, he's very well connected there. Craig, please, could you use this super chat to treat your son to a gift when you go to Turkey? I love your content with David Lynch. I promise you, mate, my son isn't coming with me to Turkey. He's actually been minded by his grandparents, but I promise you I'll bring him back a football shirt or something with that £15, mate, that you've sent across. I promise you that, mate. And I probably got to get him the white Liverpool one over there, you know, in the genuine fake Turkey section. So thank you for that, Jeff. You're very kind. Stephen Hutton said, 6 years into Anfield Agenda and I'm still addicted, Craig. Much love and respect to you and the legend that is Crosby. Appreciate you, Stephen. Yeah, I do, mate. I know you've been around a long time. I always recommend, you know, I thought you were somebody else for the while, but always appreciate your support, mate. Thank you. Would you give Jurgen Klopp another chance if he wanted to come back? No, I'm not a fan of anybody going back, really, to be honest. Because my fear would be, if he didn't have the same impact, I wouldn't want his legacy tarnished in any way. Because he left with incredible integrity and self-awareness about the situation as well. And I love him for that. And I love him for everything he did when he was here. So, personally, no. I'm glad that he was Liverpool manager. Still pinch myself it happened, but I think, you know, we can look back at our time now fondly, and I wouldn't want that to be ruined. Your favourite kind of kebab in Turkey? Oh, I'm a chicken shawarma person. I love a chicken shawarma kebab. You should do scouting videos where you look at younger players. So, I'm going to be really honest with you, Joseph. People don't give a fuck. And I know that sounds harsh, but we've done videos before where we've gone really in depth on stuff, spend a lot of time researching it and doing it, and people just don't care. You know, there are certain topics that people associate with us and certain types of videos, and that's what they come here for. And there are other people like James Alcott and many other great content creators out there, even Sai is an example, who will do more in-depth stuff like that. It's just not really our bag, you know. Hope you understand where I'm coming from. I'm just trying to be honest. Adam said, any other collabs happening? I love the David Lynch videos, but would love more. I love all your content. It's a tough one because schedule wise it's difficult to fit in more collabs as well. All I will say is our door is always open, and if anybody wants to do anything with us, just get in touch and we'll more often than not say yes. I'm going to do a quiz tomorrow actually on another channel. Alright, so Mark was just giving me a rundown there of what was going on at the Atleti game. Look, is there any collabs that you guys think you'd like us to do or suggest they're at, and we're always open to them as well. Benjamin said, I think Klopp was our Shankly. He built it from ruins. His legacy, he built it from ruins. His legacy is for us fans who were there for that era. It was the best time to go. I think so. I think it had ran its course, but I'm glad that he decided to leave rather than the club ever having to make that decision. Right, let's check in on the poll. We asked you guys, what length of deal would you give Mohamed Salah? So far, 62% of you that have voted are saying 2 years, but we'll leave that up for a bit longer. Adam said the kickoff. I don't even know if they're still doing watch-alongs and stuff, to be honest with you. I haven't spoken with Brian in a while. We'd sent Brian a little message wishing him well when he was doing the DAZN alternative coverage for the AJ fight. And to be fair to Brian, he messaged back as well to say thank you. But yeah, I don't know if there'll be anything on the kickoff coming up, to be honest. Troy said, I keep forgetting to contact Coppish. You don't need to contact them on our behalf, mate. I've done stuff with Drifty and Callum and Coppish before. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Nothing but admiration for them. I think they're great lads. Yeah, I'm very much somebody who thinks highly of the guys at Coppish. Nothing but respect for them. If Klopp was out, Shankly, does that mean Slot will be our Paisley? That would be nice, wouldn't it, Mark? I mean, if it worked out that way, that would be very nice indeed. Higging, or HHGGGGHG, said, imagine if Klopp got the budget other clubs give to their manager, but do you think Klopp would have used it, as he always said, if money became the biggest part of football, he'd walk away? Yeah, I think he would. I think he would have liked it. And look, I know Jurgen has said that his relationship with the owners was good and he understood it and whatnot, but I'll always feel that they didn't support the managers enough during their era. And that will include Arne Slot, probably, because I don't see them changing with the way that they go about the transfer business. And look, I'm never going to stop calling out the owners for being cheap until they start doing their part, which is really backing the managers with transfer funds. Because what we're competing against these days is difficult, right? If Arsenal can go out there and spend 100 and something million on Rice and then bring in Trossard and bring in all these other players, City have built what they've built, United are spending money, Chelsea are spending money, Spurs are spending money, we've got to compete. And if our managers had the same level of backing as most of those other clubs, I would argue that we would certainly have some more trophies right now. Craig Adams, welcome mate to Anfield Agenda FC. Appreciate you. What's this one? Yes, of course we can. Mark just wants me to mod somebody. Let me just scroll back till I find a comment. Where are you gone? 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 Squeaky Clean, can you comment for me, bud? So I can mod you. I just can't find one of your comments at the minute. If you could comment anything, mate, even a letter, that'll do. Nimnoy said, you know my little brother's a United fan. I feel so bad for him during these matches. They're so effing terrible. Yes, it can. There you go, Squeaky. Thank you, mate, for that. That is done. Thank you for the suggestion, Mark. Yeah, look, sometimes it feels like kicking a puppy, doesn't it, when United are so bad, you know. But I always have to remind myself that I lived through many, many years of being bantered by United fans. Do a video with Mr. Beast. Oh, I would very happily do a video with Mr. Beast. But I think I'm not really on Jimmy's radar, to be fair. But what a guy. Any word, top of the league? I missed the midweek streams. For me, Lucas, I'm just going to stick to Liverpool stuff this season. I've already said to Connor, from next summer onwards, I want to start moving into non-sport content. So I'm going to do my nostalgia type channel, probably, where I look back at stuff from my childhood and my favourite toys, my favourite movies, my favourite TV shows, my favourite foods that aren't around anymore. All these kind of things. I think we're probably going to look to do that moving forward. So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy that, and I'm looking forward to going into non-sporting content as well. Just have to figure out what that looks like. S Crypto said IPTV stopped working today. No idea, mate. I haven't used mine. Yeah, I was just looking on Sky Sports all day today, so I haven't used the IPTV. Do I like Harry Potter? I've never seen any of the Harry Potter films and never read any of the Harry Potter books. I have been to Harry Potter World in Universal in Orlando, and it was pretty cool, to be honest with you. Hayden, how are you? Hayden Butler also up. Thank you for your comment. Craig, massive fan of your channel. Do you think we have what it takes to win the title? If everything goes in our way, mate, yes. But, you know, an injury or two, and I've got to be honest and think we fall away a bit. If Arna can manage the squad, we can keep injuries and suspensions to a minimum. You never know. You know, we're not going to be a million miles away. Would I ever do YouTube boxing? I think my time has probably passed for that. I mean, never say never for the right number. And it would have to be a pretty substantial number, because if I was to do something like that, I'd want to put aside 3 to 6 months to train properly to get into some type of shape. But yeah, never say never of anything in life is the way I look at it. You know, remember, I'm getting on in years now. I give you Andy Ruiz vibes. I've always thought I'd do alright in a boxing ring, you know. But yeah, I guess you never know till you try these things. But you know, with my jaw and stuff, I don't know if I'd even pass a medical, to be honest with you. Pork pie with red sauce or brown sauce? Oh, that's a good question, Martin. For a pork pie, I'm probably saying ketchup. But if it was a sausage sandwich or a bacon sandwich, I'm probably going brown sauce. What's your opinion on YouTube boxing and misfits? As long as it's kept as it is and away from main boxing, I don't see any problem with it, you know. Sometimes I think, and look, I've never been around any of the misfit shows or anything like that, but sometimes I think it can get a little bit cartoonish in its build-up. But ultimately, I have nothing but respect for any man or woman that steps into a boxing ring, that goes into a gym to try and improve their lives, that tries to challenge themselves. I've got nothing but respect for anyone that steps in to do that, because, you know, it takes guts to put yourself out there, to step into a boxing ring, whether it's white collar stuff or whether it's professional, and they'll always have my respect. That's I think the most honest I can be about it. Would I box Mark Goldfish for £1? Look, with all due respect, he wouldn't even get into a room to debate me, let alone a boxing ring. So let's just park that up. Torben, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. What's your opinion on WWE? I don't watch it anymore, but I was a huge fan growing up when it was still WWF and into WWE. We used to watch it religiously. Yeah, so nothing but I'm a fan, but I just don't watch it anymore. Love you, Craig. You and the team have helped me get through the hardest point in my life. Do you know what? That comment and others that we've had similar to it, mate, over the past few weeks have really given me a good outlook and change of perception on the channel. I used to be real competitive, and I used to look at it and I used to just want us to take over the world, and I wanted the channel to always, you know, get bigger and better and more powerful. But what's really touched me over the past few weeks have been the comments like that, mate, from people who've reached out, and I don't know what's gone on in the last month, but we've got a lot of them. People just said that the community has really helped them, and that is the thing I'm most proud of what we've done so far, because you know yourself, this has been about community from day one for us, and it really means a lot, because I can tell you that the channel's helped me on a personal level so much. Adrian, how are you, bro? From Rhode Island, nice to see you in, my friend. Said love the channel, or love the show. Thank you, Adrian. I really appreciate your support, dude. And yeah, all the way out. It's so mad to hear where everybody is in the world, like in the comments. It's nuts. Who would win in a boxing match, Diogo or Darwin? Oh, Darwin. Come on now. I'd say if you're looking at our boys, best boxers, Van Dijk would have those long arms. Ibu would be the one. Do you know what I mean? If I was to pick a champion boxer from Liverpool, I'm saying it's probably Ibu. You know, he's got every asset you'd want there. Big physical specimen, long arms, power. Doug, thank you, mate, for gifting 5 memberships. That's very kind of you. I hope yourself and the family are well. I feel good saying the family these days to you, Doug, actually, now that I know that there's a new little family member in the world. Have I ever been to an All-Ireland? No, I haven't, Lucas. Would you believe, mate? I've only been to the Croke Park twice. Once for Garth Brooks and once to play when we were in primary school. So we have never been to an All-Ireland. I've never even been to a GAA game in Croker. Hayden, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Appreciate you, mate. Opinion on clean-shaven Alisson. I don't like it. I said it to my wife as well. I said, look, Sabrina, look, Alisson's clean-shaven. And she's like, normally she doesn't care, like, but she's like, what? It's weird, isn't it? I mean, you often hear the phrase people's faces look naked when they shave their beard, but Alisson really does look... I can't get used to him without the beard. I think the beard suits him so well. Opinions on Joshua against Dubois. Look, I'm not going to lie, mate. I thought Joshua was going to go in and get him out there in 6 rounds. But Daniel Dubois deserves every bit of credit because he showed AJ no respect and he went in there and he bullied him. And it was thoroughly convincing and one-sided. So you cannot do anything but give Daniel Dubois his credit. William said, Salah's new trim is fire. So I want him to shave his head again. It's grown back in now, and I preferred Mo with a proper shaved head because I think Mo, shaved head, beard, he looks different gravy. You know, he looks like a superhero. So yeah, I'd like Mo to just keep the hair short because I think he looks brilliant with the short hair. Alvin said, Craig, our front 3 didn't score against Forest and Milan. Just Salah penalty against Wolves. But does it really matter, Alvin? With all due respect, who scores the goals as long as we win the game? You know, we often hear the phrase that we defend from the front and we defend as a team. And if we can get more goals from midfield, defence, set pieces, does it really matter? You know, as long as we keep picking up positive results, mate, that's the way I'd look at it anyway. What's this one? So, let's have a look at some of these top 4 odds, actually. 1 second. Mark's just sent this on to me. So, Squawka have put up some odds for top 4. Arsenal 1-20 on. Man City 1-6 on. Liverpool 1-5 on. Chelsea 4-5 to get in top 4. Spurs 11-4. Villa 10-3. Newcastle 4-1. How are Man United only 4-1 if Newcastle are 4-1 and Villa are 10-3? How? That makes 0 sense to me. How can you almost have United and Villa at the same level? That seems madness. Like, if you were to go on there and stick 50 quid on United, a 4-1 to get in to the top 4, well, you just have wasted 50 quid, wouldn't you? Had a 10-minute argument with a mate due to him saying Saka's prime is better than Salah's prime. I don't know your friend, mate, but he's deluded. Show me one season where Saka has put up Salah numbers. Show me one season. If you're talking about primes, look at Salah's first year and show me 1 year that Saka has gotten near those numbers of Mo's. Because you're talking about prime here. So his first year at Liverpool, show me numbers from Saka that are anywhere near that. Show me a trophy haul from Saka that is anywhere near what Mo has done with the Liverpool team. Show me the golden boots to back it up. Not a chance. This is one of those things that Arsenal fans just are a little bit embarrassed themselves with at times. Everybody should get carried away a bit with their team, but they sometimes take it to a new level. they're going to have to take 2 Dilutamols and call us in the morning, because that's just silly. In a boxing match, who would win, me or Mark? If you're talking about Goldbridge, mate, my 12-year-old son would beat Goldbridge. My wife would knock him out. What do you think would happen? Let me ask you that. If it was me and him in a boxing ring, what do you think would happen? Loved seeing United at their best today. They're almost a mid-table team, said Ray. Right, so we're going to end this poll. We've had over 1,000 votes where we said, what length of contract would you give Mohamed Salah? 60% of you guys have said 2 years, and I think I'm in that camp as well. I hate Arteta, Smug. I've never been able to take to Arteta. I'll give him his credit as a coach. I think he deserves that respect. But there's just, I look at him and I still see him in an Everton jersey, and that still just annoys me. So I don't think I'll ever be able to warm to Mikel Arteta, but I will give him his credit. He's definitely done a good job so far with that Arsenal team. I thought you and Mark were friends. We were. Yeah, we were. Until we weren't. And then he tried to sue us. So it's hard to be friends with somebody who's trying to send illegal letters to threaten you, like a coward, rather than pick up the phone. So we were, but I don't want to go back into it. Let's just leave it at that. We'll go and do what we're doing. What are these betting numbers? Top 4. They were the top 4 odds, mate, that Squawka had put out there today. So Arsenal 1-20 to get top 4. City 1-6. Liverpool 1-5. Chelsea 4-5. Spurs 11-4. Villa 10-3. And United and Newcastle 4-1. What do they mean? Right, so for Arsenal at 1-20 means if you put 20 quid on Arsenal to get top 4, you'd win 1 quid. So the first one is what you'd get back with your return if you stake the second one. So for instance, Liverpool at 1-5 on means if you bet 5 quid for Liverpool, you'd only win 1 quid. That's how likely they believe it is. So United there is an example. They're 4-1. If you put a fiver on and somehow they did it, you'd win 20 quid and your fiver back. My stepdad has claimed in the past Raya was better than Ali. Jesus would win the Golden Boot. Tierney was better than Robbo. And Zinchenko was the best fullback in the world. Yeah. My answer to that would be Raya's not even the best goalkeeper in his own national team setup. And was benched for most of the Euros. So how am I supposed to believe he's the best in the world if he's not even the best in the Spanish national team? So that will be my answer to that part. KRD771, absolute pleasure, bro, and thank you for being here with me for them. Scott said, love the recorded chats with Lynchy. Thank you. Well, there'll be another one out tomorrow, mate, at about 5:30 probably. I'm recording with him before. It usually takes us about an hour then to get it all uploaded and stuff. So yeah, that should be good to go for 5:30 tomorrow. Though I reckon Ireland will make the World Cup. No, I don't. It's not looking great from a national team perspective for us. Mark said, if Ray is the best in the world, then he's Ricky Hatton. Can I ask about Aït-Nouri? I will. I'll put it in my notes now, mate, because Aït-Nouri is a player that we've spoken about before, myself and David, on and off camera. Let me just put it in my notes. 1 second. Cool. Yeah, it's in my notes there now. Am I mad at Declan for switching national teams? Yeah, I am. Like, I'm not going to lie. When you're kissing the badge, singing Ra songs, or posting them on social media, or posting up the Ra, whatever it was he posted, yeah, I am. Definitely. But it is what it is. Mad thing is, if you look at that England team, actually, Kane could play for Ireland, Bellingham could play for Ireland, Rice could play for Ireland, Grealish could play for Ireland. I think there's another one in there as well that could play for Ireland in that England setup. Daniel said, fair play, I'd be salty as well if I was Irish. Look, it is what it is, you know. There's no point in dwelling on it. It's there, it's happened. You know, I'm sure he's going to play in a lot more tournaments with England. Mark said, don't forget to check out the tickets for the Liverpool show. Yes, actually, I'm going to get my latest update on them tonight. So, I'm sure you're already aware, but if you're not, as you can see from the poster, we're going to be doing a live show in Liverpool, November the 15th at the Hot Water Comedy Club. We're going to have a live musical act on the night. We're going to have a stand-up comic playing as well. And then yours truly is going to do whatever it is I do. We'll be there November the 15th, and you can get your tickets with the link at the top of the chat. And the good news, it's an all ages event, meaning it doesn't matter if you're a teenager, if you want to bring your 5 or 6 year old along. All I can say to you is, I'm going to swear, that's on you. But we'd love to see you there. Would I have kept Bobby for another year or two? No, I felt like that was the right time. I do. I felt like Bobby's legs had gone, and I feel it was the right decision. Can you ask David about Yarrick? Oh, mate, is that just a random name, or has there been an actual link? Because I'm not going to just ask him about any old random left backs or left side of central defenders. Usually I ask him about stuff that there's been some stories for us written that we've been linked to a player. Mark said, and Craig and Connor will do a Q&A on the night. Yes, that's what we do. So if you're wondering what one of our live shows looks like, as an example, let me just tell you. So Paddy Doyle is going to do 45 minutes of chart hits, your favourite Liverpool songs, just to get everybody bouncing, get you settled in with a few drinks. Then Carl is going to come out and do, I think, 15 or 20 minutes of a stand-up comedy set. And then I'm going to come out and I'm going to talk about Liverpool and have a bit of fun for an hour or so. And then we'll do a Q&A with me and Connor at the end. And as always, after the showdown, we'll take photos and meet everybody and, you know, say hello. Would you have kept Sadio for longer? Yes, but the decision to leave was Sadio's. It wasn't the club's. So, yes, I would have kept him around longer. But, you know, he's the one who decided it was time to move on. And I think the club just then tried to get the best deal that they could. Will United get top 8? Yes, I think they will. I think they'll probably finish 7th or 8th. And I'm not saying that to take, you know, cheap shots at them. Just look at the teams in the league. I think we all know Liverpool, Arsenal, City, all better than United. Villa, I think, are better than United. Spurs, I think, are better than United. Newcastle, I think, are better than United. But not by much. I think if United got their act together, they couldn't be too far off there. Chelsea, better than United. So yeah, I think if you look at it, they probably are somewhere between the 6th and 8th best team in the league. LFC Shankly said, you like me, Craig? Don't care who scores as long as we win, so why does Nunes get all the flack? There are just some sections of our fan base that seemingly like to moan. And it's really been bugging me lately, LFC Shankly, because when we win and people moan about stuff, I mean, and I'm not talking about saying we could have done this better, we could have done that better, and maybe I would have brought this player off here for there. I'm talking about just bitching and moaning. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, if we're winning, I'm happy. Whether that's a vintage 7-0 whooping or a 2-1 scrappy win. I don't care as long as we win. Vasil said, I can see Chelsea getting top 4. They're certainly looking a lot more consistent than they were last season. I think the playing out from the back stuff's going to cause them trouble because they don't look comfortable with it yet. But, you know, Cole Palmer looks like just one of the signings of the last 5 to 10 years. And Man City must be kicking themselves. And Man City fans must be scratching their head going, how? Because I remember speaking with Stephen McInerney, esteemed company, 5 years ago. And he was telling me about Cole Palmer coming through with City and, you know, what a great player he was going to be. And he had every faith in him, as did most of the City fans that I'd spoken to. So, yeah, to see him make the move away and just do so well at Chelsea since he's gone there. I mean, 4 goals in the first half yesterday, the first time it's been done. Squeaky Clean, thank you for being with us, mate. He's a member for 7 months now. Said, Man United lost, City dropped points, we're on top of the league. It's a great day to be a Red. Yeah, it is. It is, mate. No notes from me on that one. It definitely is a great day to be a Red. Would I prefer Palmer or Foden? I'll tell you what, I'd happily take either of them. Which one would I prefer? Probably Palmer. Probably. But I think they're both very good footballers. Did we loan or sell Clark? Sold, Toby. We sold him to Salzburg. I think Liverpool do have a buyback clause and certainly have a resale option, but he was sold. Oh, Atletico equaliser in the Madrid derby. So it's 1-1 in that one. Who scored the goals, if you don't mind me asking? William said, honestly, I like Núñez. He has the potential to... his run is great, but he doesn't want to do every shot at 100 miles an hour. I like him as well, William. I think this is a big season from him. There's no hiding away from that. He has to figure it out this season, and he has to really establish himself and start to show a bit more consistency. But as you've said, he has all the tools at his disposal. So Militao and Correa, thank you. Appreciate that. Looking forward to your show in Liverpool, said Peter. Going to the stadium tour, touching the This Is Anfield sign to be emotional stuff. Enjoy. It's a flying visit for us to Liverpool this time. We're in, do the show, a few hours sleep, and then back on the plane the next morning, and we're back home. So it's a flying visit into Liverpool for me and Connor this time. Do you think Thiago would have done well with Ange Ball? Thiago Alcantara, yeah, he'd have been ripping defences apart, mate, if he was fit and available. Has your Manscaped contract ended? Yes, it has at the moment, yeah. I don't know if we've heard back on anything from them. Honestly, Connor deals with that side of stuff, but yeah, the game against West Ham midweek was our last contracted game with Manscaped. So at the moment, we do have a sponsorship space, which hopefully will fill soon. But we still have, I think, another 6 months with Surfshark as well. Would you start Gakpo next match? I didn't put him in my starting 11. No, I didn't. The video's coming out tomorrow morning, by the way, so I do hope you give it a watch. But I went for Alisson, Trent, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, Robertson, because I wanted to rest Kanade. I also rested Szoboszlai, and I went Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones in midfield, and then I went Salah right, Diaz left, and Chiesa central. FSG out said, no, I loved Manscaped. Mate, so did I. I loved working with them. And look, we may renew, I don't know. As I said, I don't take part in these type of negotiations. I leave it with Connor. So, look, if we renew with Manscaped, we renew. If we don't, we don't. I have had fun working with them as well. How about the France defender that we were linked with? Is this the guy from Sevilla? If it is the guy from Sevilla, then yes, I will adhere to ask him tomorrow. What's this one? So Mourinho was booked for putting a laptop in front of the camera over in Turkey to show that Dzeko's goal was wrongly disallowed for offside. He's some man. Mark said, David Lynch stuff is golden, Craig. Keep it going. Thank you. We waited about a year or 18 months till David had a space in his agenda so we could bring him on board to do some videos. And I'm glad that we did, because I really enjoyed doing this stuff with him. Thoughts on Victor Gyökeres? So, I haven't watched much of him because, I'm not going to sit here and say I watched the Portuguese Primeira Division, but his numbers are incredible. Obviously I heard a bit about him when he was at Coventry, and I do think he is destined to go, with all due respect to Sporting, to a top club in Europe. Who would I want as Robbie's successor? Robbie? I'm confused on that one, mate. Robbie? What's your opinion on the shorter summer transfer window? Yeah, so it looks like the transfer window next summer is going to close on August 15th, if I'm not mistaken. They don't want the window being open once the season starts. They want it to be closed. So I think there's an agreement happening between the top 5 leagues in Europe that they all close the window at the same time. So I think it's August the 15th. Oh, Robbo, sorry. Probably Aït-Nouri. If we're looking for somebody to come in and be a long-term successor there to Robbo. What's your opinion about Trent's yellow card yesterday? Was it fair? Yes, and it was stupid from Trent. It was completely unnecessary. The foul was stupid. The push in the back was so blatant. And then the kicking the ball away bit, it was absolutely deserved. And it annoyed me because it meant he was walking a tightrope then for the rest of the game. Chris over at Mauritius, 1:18 a.m. Nice. Mauritius. I'd say it's so much nicer weather-wise there than where I am. Hincapié, said CJ. Weirdly, it's Jonathan Tah that was the centre-back at Leverkusen we were linked with last. I think he ends up at Bayern Munich. Jonathan Tah at the end of his contract with Leverkusen. So finished 1-1 in the Madrid derby. Thank you guys for that one. Better be ever Bivol. Yeah, somebody asked me this the other night. It's hard to not say Beterbiev, isn't it, by stoppage, because that's what the man does. But Bivol put on a clinic when he fought Canelo. Yes, Canelo was coming up to a weight he probably shouldn't be at, but I think Beterbiev, if he catches him, it's night-night, so I'm probably going to say Beterbiev. But at some point, Father Time has to catch up, right? LFC Shankly said, Robinson of Fulham looks decent. Yeah, but he's 27 now, mate, so you'd be talking 28, and you don't want to be bringing in somebody to replace Andy Robertson at 28. I think he's just too old at that point. And I agree with you, by the way. He looks like a very tidy player. He's got a great engine as well, but I think his age would go against them. Oh, you're on holiday in Mauritius. Nice, Chris, is good. Somewhere I've always wanted to get to. Mauritius, Seychelles, definitely on my bucket list of places to go, as well as Australia, South Africa. Do you think Dom will come good this season? Yes, I hope so. Do you know what? Do I think he will? I'm unsure, but I hope he does, because again, he has all the tools to do well. You see flashes of it with him, but I just want a bit more. Now, I guess he is still only, 23, 24, Dom, so plenty of time ahead of him. Meta official said Namibia. I've always wanted to do a safari in Namibia. I've seen loads of videos of safaris and stuff people have taken to Namibia, and it looks beautiful. And I'm not talking about safari going shooting at them, by the way. I just want to go and see the animals. Do I watch American college football? No, I've tried to, and it's not as sharp and as polished as the NFL, is it? For obvious reasons. So no, I can't say I pay much attention to it because I've tried to watch it a few times and never really been able to get into it. Ooh, that was I'm seeing the challenge now for the red card in the Madrid derby, and not a great challenge, scissor challenge. There's a big LFC fan base in Namibia. Don't be saying that to me, bro. I'll be wanting to go and do a safari and then a meet-up as well over in Namibia. That would be great. South Africa's in the house. Leffa, how are we? South Africa is, I think, our third or fourth most viewed country for Anfield Agenda. So we always have great support from South Africa. Cameron, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Mary said, I'm seriously thinking of going over next year to Liverpool near Christmas to get my kitchen sorted. Oh, Mary, if you're going over for a bit of Christmas shopping around, you'll love Liverpool. Liverpool one's great fun. I love going in around that shopping centre. And I can imagine Liverpool in and around Christmas time will be a great place to visit. Dave said, agree with you, Craig, no shooting animals unless it's a camera. Yeah, I just want to go and see them, Dave. I'm just fascinated. As I've gotten older and older, I think my appreciation of wildlife and Mother Nature in general is certainly grown. And I'd love to go over to see a safari over in Namibia or South Africa or somewhere like that. Sport edits from Ireland, just like me. Well in, mate. Giants Gift said, I really rate Curtis Jones. He was good yesterday prior to a small injury. I thought he did okay when he came on yesterday. I think that's fair enough, yeah. I think he did okay. You used to live in South Africa, Dave. Nice. My psychologist is from South Africa, actually. So I have a pretty good person there to ask questions to, if I ever need to find out anything about visiting. Was Bruno's red legit? I personally didn't think so. I mean, he did throw his leg at Maddison, but he also kind of slipped, said Nimnoy Pramanik. I agree with you. I think he did flick the leg out. I wouldn't have given a red, personally. So I think if it happened to us, I'd feel disappointed. But the flick of the leg is the only part that I find it hard to really defend him on, because the slip was apparent. He definitely slipped. There's no denying that. But I still think he did flick the leg a little bit. You hitting that desk a lot, man? No, not at all. My hands are flat on the desk. Unless it's the mouse you're hearing. It could be the mouse in my hand. That could be what you're hearing. Anthony Taylor or Michael Oliver? Neither at this point. Honestly, neither. I don't like any of them being near Liverpool. Ryan, how are you, mate? Let me get this up for you. Love from South Africa. You're always welcome. Honestly, I think I will definitely get to South Africa at some point. It is going to happen. One of my fondest memories growing up was me and my dad sitting together watching The World's Strongest Man in South Africa, and me just thinking how amazing Sun City looked as a child, just thinking I need to go there someday. So since I've been about 7 or 8, it's been on my bucket list of places to go. So I think I will get over there at some point, Ryan. Alex said, I'm not a hater at all, but in my honest opinion, I think Szoboszlai is really poor, but I'm not sure what's wrong because he was world class this time last year. He certainly hasn't been at his best. I think that's a fair enough statement. It's a weird one because you see flashes of it in him, and his pressing is really good and his energy levels are really good. But I think what Arne Slot said is probably fair. You need to be adding a few more goals and assists from midfield for Liverpool. Would I be happy if Salah signed a 2-3 year deal and then leaves on a free when he's 35, 36? Absolutely. Yes. Because then I would say there's no doubt in my mind that we've seen the best years of Salah. And I could understand at 35, 36... him maybe wanting to go and try something else before he finishes up his career or hangs up his boots. Who's your all-time favourite player? It's between Messi and Maradona. You know, if you're looking from an ever to play the game scenario. From Liverpool's perspective, Robbie Fowler. Ben Doak is on loan hoarder at Middlesbrough and scored for them yesterday. Who's your best commentators in the Premier League? Probably Peter Drury, to be honest. I think Peter Drury's pretty damn good. Samuel said, Stefan got another start yesterday for Salzburg. I hope he comes back a monster. Yeah, I think he did about 63, 68 minutes yesterday, if my memory's right. Why did Bruno get sent off? It was for a high-footed challenge, but, you know, to give a context, he did slip a little bit beforehand. It was on James Maddison, if I'm not mistaken, the challenge. Right, folks, I'm going to say goodnight to you, and I'm going to go grab a bite to eat, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Remember, the video's coming out at midday, the preview for the game against Bologna. The video with David Lynch will be out at about 5:30 tomorrow evening, and then I'll be back live tomorrow night at 8:45 as well. So appreciate you all dropping in tonight. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Much love.